Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're calling in from across Canada. Welcome and thank you for attending today's Member Update webinar. A friendly reminder to attendees to mute your audio for this event. The purpose of today's event is to give you an update on the programs, events, and committees that we are developing with members like you, for members like you. TechNation is a member-driven organization, and our boards, committees, working groups, and member feedback channels helps us to stay on top of the needs of our member companies. We want to hear from you and your team as to how we can better support you. We're happy to schedule a one-on-one call or a team meeting to connect you to our programs, events, and committees. The more engaged you and your organization become in TechNation, the more value you'll receive from your membership. We're here to help you connect the dots and get involved. There will be a Q&A session following our member updates today. Feel free to type in your questions via the chat or put up your hand to ask your question at that time. You can also email me your questions at jhanlon@technationcanada.ca. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the program our leader, Angela Mondu, President and CEO of TechNation. Welcome, Angela.
Hey, thanks, Jeff, and welcome everyone to today's session. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I just have a couple of things that I want to share with you, and you're going to be hearing from all of our amazing program leaders. So first and foremost, what I'd like to share with you is really the mandate of TechNation and some of our strategic areas, our strategic priorities that really align with the bold and disruptive programming that you're going to be hearing about. Our tagline or mandate, if you will, is really about changing the world and ensuring that our members, and there's over 250 of you as part of the largest national technology association in Canada, are world-class innovators, disruptive, creative thinkers. And we want to make sure that we get you and your incredible innovation front and center, not just in front of our government or in front of other businesses, but being leveraged by Canadian business in Canada as well, so that we, as Canada, can remain globally competitive. Don't get me started on that topic, because we have a lot of work to do. We've lost a lot of headway in the last decade, but that's a whole other discussion. So we're thrilled to have all of you here today. Thrilled to be representing you and sharing with you some of the really exciting and very unique programming that we're going to be offering. Just as a quick emphasis on our vision and mission as TechNation. First of all, as I mentioned, we really do want to be representing and achieving this world-class leading digital society, bringing members like you forward in every way and capacity that we can to help drive the prosperity and competitiveness of Canada. So that's an important part of what we do, an important part of showcasing all of you as companies and many of you as leaders on the platforms that we can provide through the events and stakeholder meetings and many other programs that we offer. Secondly, I want to just remind you and share with you some of the important mission statements that we have as well, because it also underlies our programming. One is we're very focused this year on the robust adoption of technology across all sectors. The pandemic, as we all know, proved that those who have technology succeed, those who don't are really in a challenging place right now. And Canada has finally recognized, from a government perspective, they need to invest in our small, medium enterprises. We're right now sitting on top of a significant proposal into ISED and the federal government, hopefully to bring forward technology companies like our members, should we win this proposal, to help drive Canada's small, medium enterprises, both in e-commerce and off digital Main Street, to drive Canada's prosperity forward. So we really mean that. We don't just have these missions, we actually get behind them and walk the talk. We're also heavily involved, and you'll hear about this today, in increasing tech talent from every aspect, cyber, AI, a digital career finder platform to connect interns and co-ops into all of you, our members. Please make sure you check into that program because the government provides funding to all of you to hire interns and co-ops in tech positions. Really, really important work to ensure that the skills are being built right at the front end of the student pipeline. And then last but not least, and you'll hear all about this, the acceleration of government modernization from many different angles. A big part of that includes procurement modernization. Our strategic priorities. We have programs that are focused on leading the industry government nexus for Canada's future. You're going to hear from Michelle Lajeunesse and her team all about some of the incredible work we're doing behind the scenes, but also the very powerful engagement as an association at the senior most levels that we've been able to develop and create collaborative programming around. Industry prosperity and growth. We have a tremendous amount of programming where we're bringing forward our members, connecting you through not just events that connect you with each other, but events that also connect you with many of the leaders in our provinces, our cities, and government around programs where they're offering digital roadmaps, things like Daphne Carve offered the Technology Roadmap Innovation Program. You'll be hearing about programs like that that are particularly valuable for all of our members as well. The future workforce development, I talked a little bit about, super powerful team behind all of that. We as an organization in the last 4 years since 2017 have deployed over $200 million into technology companies. That's what I was talking about earlier. If you haven't tapped into this yet, make sure you connect with us. For every student and intern and co-op that you hire, there's up to $7,500 provided from the government to companies like you to bring these students in. I used to work at BlackBerry. We sat in the middle of a campus in Waterloo. We hoovered in the interns and co-ops and then hired them all, and they became some of the founders today of some pretty cool technology out there. So don't let that sit on the shelf. You're going to hear from our health leader and our health team as well. They're doing a tremendous amount of work around data interoperability across provinces. This is leading edge stuff. I can't wait to look at the white paper that we're going to be putting out in the near future. So lots of exciting and important stuff happening in our health team. And you're going to hear as well about Tech for Canada. These are the programs where we actually collaborate with government leaders, with ISED, with ESDC, with the Ontario government. And all of this is about working together with government to help ensure
Please leave
that
your
as
message after the
tech
tone.
members
After leaving a
and
message, you can hang up or press pound for more options.
Government to help drive Canada forward. I'm hearing, I hope nobody else is, but somebody's taking a voicemail right now, and hopefully it's not going to be of me talking a whole lot. Anyways, if we could flip to the next slide. I think we have just a little bit more to show, and then I'm going to hand over to the team. Just very quickly as well, Jeff and team spent the last 8 months putting together an in-depth membership survey. It's obviously critically important that we're hearing from all of you, one, on your awareness of the breadth and depth of programs that we offer in those 5 strategic priority areas that I just showed, but also understanding where you deem your priorities to be. And so this page right here, and Jeff, I'm sure is going to tell you some of the results in more detail, but this is in essence what we were told by all of you as members are the top programs you want to see in our particular strategic priority areas. So in government relations, many of you may have been participating in the past and will continue to this year, are executive briefings. These are pretty exciting briefings where we get to meet the leaders of Shared Services Canada, of Innovation and Science and Economic Development, of the Ontario government, or MedCat, or City of Toronto leadership. Really important briefs for you as members to understand what's going on real time with our government leaders, along with the many public sector business meetings, very well attended, and certainly a high value to all of our members. In addition to that, you'll hear of many meetings, right? In this quarter alone, I believe we've had 27 government advocacy meetings. So that small, powerful team in government is doing a lot of work in terms of connecting the dots based on all of your priorities. In industry, I referred a little to the CIO and CIO events. We do biannual events with Daphne Carr and her CIOs. They're very well received and phenomenal information and opportunities to understand where you can collaborate and or get mobilized for investment that's coming down the pipe with the government. We have a huge program around diversity and inclusion, but it's also something that all of you have spoken very high, not highly about, but put it at the top of your list in terms of importance. Future workforce development, certainly an area of tremendous importance for the nation. It is going to become, for the tech sector, I'm sure all of you feel this now, right up there with the chip shortage. Talent shortage is a tough one. We're already starting to feel this looming crisis. So we have a big focus there. We have a big ecosystem nationally, and I encourage any of you listening today to get involved where you can with our team in future workforce development. I mentioned health as well, the interoperability and standards task force and the white paper. I'm sure that you'll be hearing about that today, along with the advocacy and membership work that they do. Last but not least, before I hand off, I want to say that although we're presenting generally to you programs based on our strategic priorities, here's a beautiful page of all the things that we're doing that are disruptive. You're going to hear all about that from our leaders today. I want to mention too, we have a real focus on key topic areas, and we're going to start presenting for all of our members information, not just in terms of government, but topics like our focus on cyber and a cyber forum that we're going to be launching with, the work that we're doing on the AI side of things and building out an AI strategy with some partners for future talent. So a lot of, just to say in terms of technology and specific pain points or areas that many of you may be able to bring tremendous value and knowledge to. Another one is data interoperability. How do we get our governments to actually tackle that problem? Because that puts us behind as a nation. It also makes it more difficult as businesses to work across provinces when every single province has different standards, and within the province can't even connect our own data. So a lot of really interesting areas that we're going to be launching specific programming in this year as well, and you'll be hearing more about that. Hey, Jeff, I'm going to hand back to you unless there's any questions for me, but thank you all of you for joining. I'm Angela Mondu. Please feel free to reach out to me if you'd ever like to, and reach out to Jeff. We're here to meet our members, and we make a point of that every year. So thanks for your time, and back to you, Jeff. I think I'm supposed to be handing off to Brett, our incredible workforce development senior program manager. There he is, handsome Brett. How are you doing? So hey, Brett, I'm going to hand over to you. Brett does a phenomenal job, along with Sandy Campbell and the team. Like I said, deploying funding, connecting students to all of you companies, offering dozens of events across the nation to pull in and tap into this incredible pipeline of students, as well as working on reskilling programs for Canadians that are looking at employment in the tech sector as well. So thanks, Brett, and I'll hand over to you.
Cheers, thanks for that. Hey everyone, I've been looking forward to connecting with you all again and bringing you this update. Here to just sort of talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that members are offered through the Career Ready program right now, where we help you hire co-op students and interns, and then a few other future workforce development updates as well. So the first thing that I wanted to recap was over the summer, and you might have caught it at the last session that we hosted, we've relaunched our Career Ready talent portal. So it's actually never been easier to connect with a student, and we've seen through member engagement and surveys that members are always looking for a really quick, streamlined way to connect with multiple students. So we take that task off of you with the Career Ready Talent Portal. It's an interface that will broadcast your job posting to multiple students from different regions. You can select different programs. So if you're looking for a business student with certain skill sets, or a computer science student, or perhaps both, it's your one-stop shop. So one job description upload can reach hundreds of schools right across Canada in just a few clicks. And we've also been monitoring the success rate that folks who are engaging in this portal have been having. And from time to time, there aren't any matches that are facilitated. And so we take a proactive approach, and we have really, really great relationships built with every single co-op office right across Canada. So if you can't find a match on our talent portal successfully, we would be happy to help our members out and provide a concierge service and link you directly with the co-op departments who know their students and who are looking to connect with new industry partners to make successful internship connections. Timely that this webinar is happening today as well, because the Winter 2022 funding program has also launched today. And it's really a really great time to start connecting with students now. You have enough lead time before January to make your match. Again, we're happy to play a big role in that and facilitate a connection however we can. And all you have to do is start thinking about what departments might benefit from having an intern. It could be your digital marketing department, communications. It could be IT, your operations teams looking for a business analyst or project coordinators, just about anything tech immersive. And we're happy to connect with all of our members on that as well to help you brainstorm or find and work on a work plan to get a student on board and helping your business grow. Super easy to get funding from us as well. We can always get funding. Towards the end of the fiscal year last year, we did end up running out of funding, but we always made sure that we had funding reserved and guaranteed for our members. And we also provide expedited approval turnarounds as well. So pretty much within 24 hours, if you request funding from us, you'll hear back. We're seeing more and more members starting to take advantage of the Career Ready program wage subsidy, taking advantage of interns. Angela shared a really great anecdote that we hear all the time. This sort of try before you buy recruitment solution. We'll have an employer hire a co-op student, top tier, cream of the crop talent from January to April, get a wage subsidy. Summertime, get another wage subsidy, and by this time they've really made a strong connection with the student, had really good levels of success, and these students are often bridged into permanent full-time positions afterwards. So that's the kind of success story we like to see and hear, and we see it all the time, and our members are having these experiences as well. And there's lots of different ways that you can get involved with the program if you're not necessarily looking for a wage subsidy at this time. We're always looking to partner with members and we can help you promote your organization and your brand as an employer of choice who supports emerging talent. It's a really great thing to be known for in the business community and amongst the emerging talent community. A really great example of that is we have an Indigenous in Tech student challenge coming up, and we are also following that up with an Indigenous in Tech career fair. And for the challenge, we are looking for sponsors, speakers, and jurors. And we're also pleased to offer a membership, a member pricing at a booth if you're interested in the Indigenous in Tech career fair. And the student challenges are really great opportunities to get involved with the Career Ready program, because if you have a real world business problem, you could just let us know and we could potentially turn it into a whole student challenge, effectively deploying dozens of students and dozens of teams to work as consultants to come up with solutions, really great solutions for your organization and a technical problem that you might be facing. And again, it's a really great way to put yourself in front of the next generation of tech talent. And a few other things to plug from the Future Workforce Development team. It is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so it's a really great time to be thinking about making sure that we're doing our due diligence in that area. And our cyber team has kicked off a new podcast called Cyber Safe Cities, and I'll put the link in the chat in a moment for you. Highly applicable content, not just for cities or municipalities, but to any organization looking to promote a culture of cybersecurity in their workplace. So highly recommend that you check that out. There's new episodes coming out weekly as we roll through Cyber Awareness Month. As well, our team is looking to start connecting with our members a little bit more, but more precisely looking to identify and connect with the best folks at your organization to have conversations on HR and workforce development. And it's particularly important right now because we've got so many workforce proposals that are being called for and submitted to many different levels of government. And we really want to make sure that we're continuing to engage with the right folks and get our members involved in designing the programs, because we all do this for you guys, and it's all based on industry needs and your needs. And so my ask would be that as we continue to do these follow-ups over the next month or so, please help us to identify the folks at your company who can lend their perspective and insights as we continue to develop these programs and proposals. And that's all for me. I think that we've got Michelle La Jeunesse next, so I will turn it over to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Brett. Really appreciate that. I'm just going to talk quickly about our Tech for Canada program and some of the great work we've been doing. So we've been, over the last year and a bit, have held 3 council meetings and then also held a large event March 31st, where we brought industry and government together to talk really about what we can do in terms of tech adoption for small, medium-sized enterprises. And that would kind of work into 2. There'd be tech adoption for SMEs that are in the digital main street, so they're already well down the path of understanding tech, and then those that would fall into the off the digital main street. So there is a recommendations document. You'll get the link in the chat in a second. It's also in this presentation. On June 28th, though, we followed that recommendations document with a meeting with ISED. So we met with Paul Thompson, Associate Deputy Minister, as well as Andrea Johnston, who's Assistant Deputy Minister. And we had a good chat about their new Canada Digital Adoption Program that you would have seen presented in the spring budget. We're seeing about $2.2 billion in funding towards tech adoption for small, medium-sized enterprises. We ourselves have bid on both Stream 1 and 2 through Brett's team, the Future Workforce team. And we're also looking at challenges with the SME, what we've seen over the last year, talking about accelerating tech adoption through our report, and then implementing recommendations. The recommendations we have in our document align very, very well to the CDAP, so we're really pleased with that. We will reconvene our Tech for Canada Council because of timing with Cabinet and new announcement of ministers. We're going to reconvene in January of 2022. And we will continue our dialogue, though. Angela will have a meeting with Paul Thompson again, and we do hope to have Paul at our next digital marketplace event that is going to be announced shortly in late November. So we'll continue our conversation. And big tech is really important to us to be on this council because it is the work that you do in the big tech industry in terms of supporting that part, your partner network. So it is a great way of us being able to help government access that ecosystem that they haven't typically had access to. So I'm just going to move on to government relations, just in the essence of time. Nevin French is going to join me. Nevin and I work together on the same team, and Nevin leads our policy work. We're going to talk a little bit about our committees and working groups. We have quite a few. Really important for you if you want to get involved. These public sector business committee meetings that Angela talked about, the PSBCs, we have one at the federal level and one at the Ontario level. They're open to all. You're very welcome to join, and we meet monthly. Excluding the summer, obviously, and we really do focus on federal government business or Ontario government business. I see that typo there for us, sorry, on the Ontario public sector. And we do focus on procurement and policy especially. So we get keynote speakers out to speak to us. At the federal level, we have regular updates from Shared Services Canada, as well as Public Services and Procurement Canada on their various solicitations on the street. and it provides our members an opportunity to have dialogue with those government stakeholders. The Public Policy and Advocacy Committee, and Nevin can speak a little bit to that more as we talk about policy on the next slide. Again, they meet monthly, and participants usually are policy reps from the member firms, and they focus on policy and legislation at both the federal and provincial level. And then a subset of that is a legal working group, and they focus on crafting our technical submissions. And then finally, we do have a couple of ad hoc working groups. So we do have one focused on cloud and AI that we will be reinstating shortly. They are co-chaired by members, and they focus really is decided upon by the participating members, and as well as cyber. So over to you, Nevin. I'm just going to let you speak to our policy work right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. And as you can see by this slide, it's a busy time actually in data policy in Canada. One of the major files that we've been really keeping an eye on is privacy. Canada is long overdue to update our PIPEDA, our federal commercial privacy policy. And this was hoped to have been done before the election. It was not. And so it's a file which is a federal C11 that we hope comes back early in the Liberal mandate. However, what we're seeing is a number of provinces going ahead with their own commercial privacy, either reviews or bills themselves. And we've been very active on Quebec, BC, Ontario, and Alberta as they're moving towards working on their own privacy. Our main push is for the federal government to move first, and then for the provinces to fill in the gaps. The commercial privacy is one of the most important tech policy files that could possibly impact our members. This ranges from pure commercial data policy to files like cloud and how data can be shared from one region to another. Also, just touching on the other ones here, online harms is a bill that we expect the new Liberal government to come forward. We put in we put in a submission that took place during the election. We'll be following up with Heritage, as well as Bill C11 did not make it through. This is the update to the Broadcasting Act, which really impacts our members in terms of new ways of broadcasting with the internet. Finally, digital sales services tax. This is an issue that is changing, it feels like daily almost. There was an announcement at the OECD on Friday afternoon. We're still figuring out Minister Freeland's comments around this, but it's an issue that could be of growing importance going forward, and we're watching it and working on it very closely. Any questions on these policies, please reach out, and happy to chat at any time.
Thanks, Nevin. So just talking a little bit further about some of the other advocacy that we do, we've drafted an Ontario advocacy strategy that we've presented both to our Ontario board and our Ontario Public Sector Business Committee. The areas of focus for us on your behalf, and the real focus or the objective here is to build a very similar relationship we've been able to build at the federal level, where we are at the table together as opposed to talking at each other. So we'll focus on, as Angela talked about, Daphne Carr's TRIP, the Technology Roadmap and Investment Plan for Ontario government, the Ontario Onwards digital modernization that was announced by Bethlyn Falvey earlier this year, the recent digital and data strategy that's out, including Andy Best, who's leading as a special advisor to the Data Authority, and also talking about disrupting government procurement. So the real focus for us as your representative is to get in front of the key government stakeholders around these areas to ensure that they understand that we're here to help, but not only from the standpoint of delivering on, but also helping them figure out a strategy and a framework and a way forward. We've seen a lot of fits and starts at the federal level, especially around cloud, AI. The whole idea of adoption is more than just the shiny object. It's figuring out the skills you're going to need, the policies, the legislation, the processes, et cetera. So we want to do the same thing at the Ontario level. We do have Queen's Park Days coming up. We did have to shift it from October 5th to 7th to November 16th to 18th due to proroguing of government. And we will have a focus on Ontario procurement redesign, technology jobs of the future, and then digital government and transformation. So again, if you're interested, reach out to myself or Nevin. Always happy to discuss that with you. And there'll be more information about the advocacy strategy and way forward on that. So we're going to talk a little bit about procurement. So I just reached out to a number of member firms today. We did finally get our network roundtable with Shared Services Canada. This time it'll be with the business line and the Chief Technology Officer, Matt Davies and Patrice Nadeau, on November 3rd at 11 a.m. So I have reached out to members who've participated in the past roundtables. We do have a report that we presented. That's what's shown on the right. And then we have new roundtables that we're going to be putting on, Public Services and Procurement Canada, Shared Services Canada together, roundtables on procurement challenges. So we all know we've been facing, industry's been facing for a number of years, terms and conditions like limitation of liability, termination for convenience, et cetera, that have really caused grief for our members. Some cloud terms now that we're seeing at the departmental level that don't jive with what we're seeing at the framework level. And then, the Cloud Framework and the Shared Services Canada, then Official Languages Act, the OLA, and accessibility. And then Charlotte just posted on the side there, we do have Shared Services Canada is starting to host more industry days in advance of solicitations, which is good news for us, for you, our members, that they are going to consult with industry. They do have one coming up on the SD-WAN, and that will be held on. You have to register for it by October 18th. So please don't miss out if you want to participate in that. So just on to the next slide, we're going to talk about a couple other things that you're quite aware that we've been up to on your behalf and on the tech industry's behalf. Our digital marketplace has grown from 136 companies last year to over 530 tech companies now in Canada. We've had a lot of great success at the Shared Services Canada level with their agile procurement and now their scale up. And what we're also seeing too is a great support from our community outreach partners and our 10 national partners who have supported us through their sponsorship and also support us through a national advisory council. So more to come on that. Just talking a little bit more though about what was a great coup for us in this summer was that Shared Services Canada, next slide, Shared Services Canada President Paul Glover spoke with Angela in August and has deemed the Agile Procurement Pilot APP 3.0 a success. And they are starting to do an incremental deployment in production. And I've participated myself in a couple of departmental discussions, departmental agile procurement working groups, where they are now getting out to their departments and promoting App 3.0. They've also, through our connection, are working with the City of Toronto, who also wants to adopt App 3.0. So great news for Tech Nation and our members. You can see member Corinne Bouchard, who's a small, medium-sized enterprise that just keeps growing and growing, and congrats off to Corinne and team. But the participation that she's had in this and the feedback she's been able to provide has been absolutely invaluable. Just a couple of updates, and I won't get into this too much in detail in the next couple of slides. The App 3.0, you can really see in the next slide, talks about really the details of what agile procurement means for Shared Services Canada. So I'm not going to get into this in deep detail, but I will tell you this is what SSC is promoting to other departments and other jurisdictions. And then on the next slide, you will see that they are into their 7th pilot solicitation. So there is one on the street now. And they are also working on where they talk about room for improvement. So there really is room for improvement. We did hear from tech authorities, it's great. Vendors still are looking for a little bit more improvement. Again, it's iterative and we're coming along in that. And then the final pilot that's going to be starting shortly is the scale up. And that is where we're going to focus on underrepresented groups, Indigenous business. And that will leverage only Tech Nations Canada's digital marketplace. So it's really a value for vendors to be on the marketplace for that targeted solicitations up to 238,000. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Denise Short. Oh, sorry, Christine, you're here. Sorry, yeah, Christine, yeah, over to you. And thanks very much, Christine.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Leonard. You've probably received many an email from me about upcoming events. I'm speaking on behalf of Denise Short, who was unable to join us today.
Sure.
So the first slide, I just wanted to keep this in. Denise is the expert on this, but a big priority for us is disrupting the dialogue on diversity. We've had programming and now it's just being amplified across all business units. So we have future workforce development, diversity and leadership, women on boards, and diverse entrepreneurs. So we have different programming that falls under all of this, and you'll start seeing more things coming out. Next. Charlotte? Okay, this is a very busy slide, but this was the amount of stuff that was presented recently to our national board. I'll just stay focused on the events. We've run a three of a 4-part series called Women in the Public Sector. We've run it in BC, Alberta, and Atlantic Canada, and we will run one in early January 2022. And so great dialogue, their career journey, and also what they're doing with public sector. The digital marketplace, Michelle was addressing that. So please mark we're going to give you an update of the date in November, but we're looking currently at November 22nd. AGM, great panel on disrupting the dialogue on diversity panel. So tons of members were there, great dialogue with our female leaders. And then our future workforce team had a Black Professionals Tech Career Fair in August. And then, as Brett pointed out, in November, we have an Indigenous Tech Career Fair. So it is a big market where people want to connect. So we'll continue to keep you updated on the opportunities. So watch for the next event newsletter, because all of the things will be profiled. Podcast, Angela is running an amazing Back on Track series. You've probably seen it all over social media. I will leave it at that. And then there's different call for action that Denise is focusing on. An HR forum, we have VPs of our largest members providing input on what we should be providing for our members. We like to hear direct from our membership, and so we will unroll a new Women in Leadership series. We are going to reactivate the HR forum, which is really all levels of your HR department. And then we have some trade missions when COVID has ended or safely. So we will be handling or having female entrepreneurs heading out around the world for opportunities. Okay, next. I'll try to be Denise. So we've got that. So the things that I wanted to profile, and this will be coming out, we have a future of work, cybersecurity, skills gap, and the war on talent, a big mouthful. But this will be an event that we're going to be launching for mid-November. November is going to be very, very busy. The CCIO event, which everyone loves to hear about and attend. So this is locked and loaded. The date is December 2nd. Mark your calendar from 9 to 12. A bit of a teaser, because it's not all final. We're going to have an update on TRIP by Daphna Carr and her leaders. We've got someone speaking about digital identity, someone on cybersecurity, and we'll also have an update from MedCat. And broader public sector CIO, which is just, different CIO leaders across the broader public sector. And that will be launched in early 2020. So soon we will have these registration links open and get you engaged. And just to echo what everyone else has said, any of the committees or any of the events are open to all levels of your employee base. So if you're trying to mentor someone that wants to listen and learn, they're welcome to sign up and listen and learn. It doesn't just have to be your public sector people. Everybody is welcome, and we want to engage as many members as we possibly can. And I think that's me doing Denise, and I'm ready to hand it over. Thanks.
Thanks, Christine. My name's Elaine Husing. I'm the Executive Director for our Health Division, and I'm happy to report on more disruption happening from our membership and everything. We are working on a couple of initiatives currently. Really excited to get more of our members involved. One that Angela mentioned was the National Health Interoperability Standards White Paper. It's almost ready to go into publication. We're just finishing off, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. This paper was actually written in par with our members, providing input and editing and all those good things. It's an update to our 2016 National Health Interoperability Position paper, and the white paper will recommend paths that can be taken through open dialogue and adequate vendor engagement in system architecture and standard selection and design. And it defines and advocates for the best practices in interoperability across the country for healthcare. So more to come on that. Watch, we'll put out a big splash that it's been published and everything. We will provide some of our members just a little bit more of an opportunity to provide last minute input on the paper, but other than that, it's coming out this month. We've also been working on a post-COVID technology priorities for healthcare leaders survey. And this was, we started this in the summertime, and we went out directly to CIOs from across the country, hospital CIOs, ministry CIOs, agencies such as Canada Health Infoway, to provincial agencies. And the survey was constructed to provide answers for our members that can really help them think about what might be coming down the pipeline in the next 6 to 18 months. Some of the questions that will be answered is, as we all know, not all the technologies that the healthcare organizations have deployed during COVID will continue as long-term strategies, and the survey results will provide the insights on measures for the right KPIs today that will enable long-term investment and divestment. So watch for that. We're working on the preliminary results right now, and we'll have that available for all our members to access and to be able to utilize. Then the last initiatives that we're working on, but well, it's not really last initiative, but we also had an interoperability scorecard. This was provincial and territorial, and what we did is we started this back in 2017, and we were able to publish a 2018 scorecard. With COVID, of course, this all kind of stopped because we were trying to do it at least yearly, if not every 18 to 24 months. But because of COVID, we couldn't carry on with that. But now there's an ignited new interest in our partners going forward with this. And our partners are the CMA and the Royal College of Physicians. And as well, Canada Health Infoway has provided interest in being able to partner with us so we can leverage other data beyond just what's provided by the physicians. It's a comparative provincial and territorial health metric, which might be used to track interoperability progress towards a connected health system across the country. And we have some upcoming events that are in the hopper here. We're doing Queen's Park Day in collaboration with Michelle and Evan's team in November of this year. We also are planning to put together some health tech talks. I know we're trying to play on that TED Talks kind of play on words there. These essentially will be members' opportunities to provide expertise on AI or perhaps cloud, those types of things, directly to health ministries or CIOs of hospitals. They know what these things are. What they're looking for is how will that provide us with return on investment. So there'll be more to come on that. We're just working on getting out the promotion for that, and happy to engage with any of you if you want to partake in that. So we're planning on doing 4 sessions between now and the end of April of next year. And then also we're going to have, we have an opportunity, hopefully, this is all based off of the pandemic, which we know is not predictable, but we are planning to have a face-to-face Technician Health Canadian reception at HIMSS in March of 22. Next slide. Thanks. Just wanted to highlight these things because we were talking about interoperability. The other thing that we've been doing, and we're getting a lot of traction on this, is the different ministries have actually asked us to host the dialogue on data strategies from the different ministries across the country. And so far, we just started this in the the early summertime, but we were able to host 2 for the Ministry of Health for Ontario on their Dialogue for Data for Strategy, and we had great attendance. We also held the one, we were asked by the Public Health Agency of Canada also host a tech vendor consultation. They did ask us to limit to 26 members only. And this is, you know, unfortunately, we kind of have to go to the Tech Nation Health Board members for this because they are so closely tied to the health strategy for Tech Nation that it just made sense so that we were all talking from the same playbook. But going forward, we will be able to open up further discussion with Public Health Agency to all of our members. So, you know, again, keep aware of that. And then lastly, we just recently did this, the Ministry of Health for Ontario is putting together a program, which is a funding innovation opportunity with the Ontario health teams. We're just putting together, they promised that they would provide more information on how to get involved with this, and we just got that this morning, so that should be going out momentarily before the end of the afternoon here today. So watch out for that. And just to end, you know, we do bi-weekly meetings with our Tech Nation Executive Board just to keep everybody sort of on the same page. But we also do bi-monthly member health committee meetings, and those are advocacy. We have a procurement task force, interoperability and standards committee, and a membership and program development committee. And if you have any questions about how you can get more involved, get your voice heard in any of these things, we just open door policy always, like everybody has said. So anyways, that's it for health, and I really look forward to seeing some more of you joining us in our journey here that we're taking as we disrupt all of this stuff. Thanks.
Thank you, Elaine, and thank you, Tech Nation senior leaders, for your member updates today. We'll now begin the Q&A portion of this program. Please type in your questions via the chat area, raise your virtual hand, or just ask a question by unmuting yourself. You can also email me your questions at jhanlan, JHANLAN, at technationcanada.ca. We have received a couple questions already, so I'll jump right into it. This is for Michelle and Nevin. What are your plans regarding executive briefings, virtual and in person?
Okay, I'll jump in, and then maybe Nevin, if Nevin wants to add some color to that. So thanks, Jeff, and thanks to the member. Yeah, executive briefings, I won't lie, have been a challenge this year with budgets moving and a federal election. As well as we know the value to you as our members has always been the in-person, and it's been a real disappointment for all of us, as we know. But for safeguarding, we've decided not yet to move to in-person. We will start exploring hybrid events for sure in the new year. We do have outreach. So because of the federal election, we do need to stay at the deputy minister level and below, both because we have a federal election, and then, as you know, as soon as the federal election was over, now we're heading into Ontario election that'll be in June of 2022. So at the federal level, we are starting to do outreach with the likes of Janice Charette, who's the clerk of the Privy Council, Sammy Khoury, who is now the new head of the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity. We're also looking at Minister Tapley at the Immigration and Refugees Department, Bill Matthews at Public Services and Procurement Canada, Neil Aurora, who's the chief statistician, because of course Neil's also focused very much on data strategy. And we will also be looking to the leader of the opposition, Minister O'Toole, the leader Aaron O'Toole, to speak to our membership. So that outreach has started, and we do hope to have an answer soon and start scheduling those executive briefings. So Nevin, anything you want to add in terms of color on that and what we would be looking to speak to some of these executives about?
No, I think historically we've had some really solid events, both in person. Beforehand, I remember an event with Alex Benet in which he brought his senior leadership team to the Shaw Center, and events like that is what we'd like to emulate, to have the senior leaders there, and we would prefer them to bring their team. Thus, they can turn to them for answers and not just say, you know, that's not my department. We want to hear from the leadership, and we'd like to hear answers. As Michelle said, when the time is right, we are going to go after the political level. We had a really great fireside chat with Minister Champagne from ISED before the election, and once the new ministers get their feet on the ground, we look forward to reaching out to them as well.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, maybe Jeff, if I can just add, like, the time frame we're hearing, of course, is, you know, around the week of October 25th for cabinet mandate letters, a couple of weeks later, and then the House to sit around November 15th, but then it'll rise in 2 weeks after that. So we have a lot of work to, you know, really cram in on your behalf around Bill C11 that Nevin's been leading, some of the online harms, the Bill C10, digital sales tax. And but the executive briefings are really important to us. So whatever we can do to start getting back to some sort of in-person normal, we just don't want to be the first spreader event, as you can appreciate, on your behalf. And so more to come on that. So thanks, Jeff, over to you.
Thanks, Michelle and Nevin. Really appreciate that update. That's great. Lots of really interesting executive briefings coming up. Thank you for all your work in that area. And in our recent member survey, it was indicated that executive briefings is one of our top member benefits. So we will continue to deliver on those for our members. Another question that came in is for Brett on the Career Ready program. And the question is, what is the timeline for when you apply for a Career Ready student to actually having that student in your office on their first day?
Great, thanks for the question, Jeff, and from the member as well. It kind of depends on when you begin recruiting. So like I mentioned in my presentation, we're encouraging recruitment to kick off this week for the winter program, which starts January 1st. So if you were to, you know, get an application or get a job posting posted on the talent portal this week, maybe in about 2 weeks' time, start conducting interviews with students that have connected with your posting. You can negotiate the terms, you know, by the third week, have an application submitted in the application portal for a wage subsidy the next day and approved the day after that. So, you know, I'd say about 3 weeks is the full run of the process from recruitment to submitting the application and receiving approval for the wage subsidy. And you can certainly apply later, like if you recruit late, or if you want to start your student in February, that should be no problem, as I mentioned, because we do make sure that there's funding reserved for members.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brett. Appreciate that. The final question I have so far is relating to the digital marketplace. And the question is, our company is not yet on the digital marketplace. What are some of the advantages to us joining that portal?
Okay, here I am. Sorry, Jeff. Yeah, so there's a few benefits. One is, as I said, so the Scale Up program that will come out will target different vendor groups or demographics. So being on the digital marketplace, definitely you want to be there from the standpoint of being able to be targeted. So the more you provide information to us, so there are drop downs where you can identify that you're women-led, women-owned, Indigenous business, if you're a minority, etc. So that's a really important piece. The visibility right now, so that the digital marketplace, you'll see and hear it quite often, both from, you know, all the way from Minister Murray, who's the current Minister of Digital Government, through the Shared Services Canada and other departments now, even Public Services and Procurement Canada, who's going to be starting to leverage the marketplace as well, and now other jurisdictions. So being on there from that standpoint. And we will be adding, so as I said, so the City of Toronto is looking at using application 3.0, the Agile Procurement Process 3.0, but others that are doing challenges. So at our digital marketplace event in November, late November, you're going to see some challenges announced that will only be targeted at the vendors on the digital marketplace. So those are a few of the reasons, Jeff, for anyone who's not currently on the marketplace to get on there. The other side of it too is it just gives you that visibility also from a B2B standpoint. So there may be big partners, big tech out there that's looking to partner with somebody in a certain niche. There are opportunities for that as well. So I think that's really important as well, is to look at it from a B2B standpoint. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Michelle. Sorry, everyone. My dog is barking because I think a courier driver just came to the door. I do not have any more questions. I don't see any hands up. So we'll conclude this event now. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's Tech Nation member update webinar. Please feel free to contact me to answer any questions or to get you and your team more involved in our programs, events, and committees. You can email me at jhanlon@technationcanada.ca to set that up. We kindly ask you to complete our very short evaluation survey, which you can access shortly after this webinar. This will allow us to better understand how to meet and exceed your event needs in the future. It should only take about a minute to complete. Thanks everyone for attending. Have a great day. Bye for now.